Welcome to Career UpRising. I'm your host, Lorraine Rise, a career and executive coach dedicated to helping clients who are 40 plus to break free from feeling stuck and transform into the unstoppable force you're destined to become. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, welcome to Career UpRising. I'm your host, Lorraine Rise. I hope you are doing fabulous today, this day in May. Please take a moment to follow, subscribe, and review the show on Apple. It's growing. I love looking in and seeing the reviews and the downloads and getting feedback from all of you. So please do a quick review of the show. It makes a phenomenal difference. And know that you can always find the archive of all of our episodes at careeruprising.com/podcast. You can listen to every episode. No account or sign up for anything is needed. So before we dive into our exciting discussion today, we are talking about midlife. This is episode 177. Midlife is just the beginning with Carmen Hecox. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know there's about 10 or 11 days left at the time of the show coming out for you to take advantage of joining me in the celebration of 10 years in business for Career UpRising. We are running a fun promotion that gets you help in your career and helps me move a little inventory with my book. I published a book, What You Didn't Learn in School, Lessons on Growth, Change, and Living Your Best Life, that came out in 2023. And it has 30 life and career lessons to help you at any stage, but especially for those at the midlife stage. I think you will find a lot of inspiration and a lot of strategies in that book. So if you purchase a copy of the book in the month of May, you will instantly get free lifetime access to my digital client library. I have videos, ebooks, templates, cheat sheets, all kinds of things to help you land a job or change careers faster. And it's normally for my private clients, but it's yours for free indefinitely. All you have to do is purchase the book and email your receipt to info@careeruprising.com. Or if you want a signed copy, I will personally sign it and mail it to you. Just email us and we'll connect you with that. So info@careeruprising.com is where you go. So email us for a copy or if you just have questions, but you have just a few days left for that. All right, my friends, housekeeping items out of the way. I'm really excited to bring a new friend of mine and an amazing person and an amazing expert onto the show today. Carmen Hecox is in the studio. Carmen has transformed over 20 years of expertise as a litigation specialist into a completely new calling as a midlife transformation coach. And I love this because that midlife stage, that restlessness at 40, 50, maybe even 60 plus, is exactly who we work with at Career UpRising. So I knew that Carmen was somebody I wanted to get to know and to align with and bring on the show because she brings her own unique angle and experience from working with clients specifically at this stage. And Carmen believes that midlife is not an ending. It is a vibrant new beginning. And I happen to agree 100%. So today's message is about how midlife is just the beginning. It is just a new phase. It is not a death. It is not an end. It is nothing that you need to fear. It is a celebration and an opportunity for transformation. So I am very excited to have her here today. Welcome to the show, Carmen.
Thank you, Lorraine. It is a privilege to be on the show. And we'll start off by saying congratulations on hitting your 10-year marker. I'm saluting you, rooting for you over here on this other side.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is an awesome time. It's a big achievement. So I'm happy to have you here for this month as well to help celebrate that as well and to give our listeners a valuable message. So thank you. I appreciate that. Well, why don't we start out by just telling listeners more about you? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this work today, because you made a major career change, and I want to hear more about that story.
All right. So I began my career as a life agent with State Farm, where I received my foundational coaching and leadership training. I worked closely with a diverse group of team members across multiple agents' office, inspiring and mentoring them while helping clients align with their financial decisions and long-term goals. I also trained newly hired life agents across California and supported existing agents enterprise-wide. During that time, I was so proud to be recognized as one of the top 3 life agents in California and among the top 50 nationwide. After a company reorganization, I transitioned into a litigation specialist and spent 13 years handling complex claims, working with claimant counsels prior to a lawsuit being filed. I led settlement discussions directly, often resolving in claims without needing mediation, trial, or additional legal expenses. When cases involved defense counsel, I led the evaluation process, determined the case value, set strategies, and guiding resolution efforts, while defense handled the formal filing and extended offers based on my recommendations. In that environment, coaching remained at the core of how I operate, navigating difficult conversations, keeping emotions in check, and focusing on fair and meaningful outcomes. After taking medical leave to have a surgery on my neck, the company went through another restructuring and relocated out of California. That pause gave me space to reevaluate, and that's when I made the decision to follow the work that truly lights me up. Today, I'm a midlife transformational coach and the host of Create the Best Me podcast and YouTube, where I help women in menopause, perimenopause, and postmenopause navigate life's transitions with confidence, emotional clarity, and purpose.
That's quite a change. Yeah. So it's interesting. It sounds to me, you said one thing that really resonated with my story a little bit, because it sounds like you took the core of what you were doing, and which you identified as coaching, right? You were helping people reach a different kind of goals, more of a financial goal, but you were coaching, you were training, you were mentoring, you were guiding. And it sounds like you kind of isolated that function of what you were doing and then transitioned that into a whole new career, which I did as well. In my retail career, I was hiring and training and coaching people and realized that that was what I loved. And I just needed to find a new way to do it. So it sounds like I came from the weight loss industry, you came from financial, but it sounds similar that's kind of how you went about it, to transition into coaching. That's quite a change. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it seems like a big shift, but
Yeah.
in reality, becoming a coach felt like coming home. Whether it's mentoring team members, guiding clients through high-stress decisions, or helping people stay grounded during that uncertainty, I was coaching all along the way without using the title of being a coach.
Yes. Yes. I was doing the same thing. So I love that you kind of stripped away the title and all the details and just said, what is the heart of what I love and what I'm doing? And how can I keep doing that? Perfect. So we're knowing that you focus on people in midlife. What does that mean? Because it's like I don't even know what midlife is anymore. Is it 40? Is it 50 now? People are living longer. Tell me a little bit more about the clients you work with, their age, their challenges. What are you hearing? Just tell me a little bit more about the work that you're doing and who it's with.
Well, one of the biggest challenges women in midlife face is feeling invisible. And this often creeps in during their mid-40s. There's actually a term called invisible women syndrome. It's that feeling of being overlooked, dismissed, unheard, devalued, whether it's in the workplace or at a doctor's office. At work, they're often passed over promotions or not considered for leadership opportunities, even though they're more qualified. In the healthcare industry, their symptoms or concerns are often brushed off or attributed to just getting old, in air quotes. And often they're sent away with prescription for anxiety or depression. And at home, things start shifting as well. Their roles are changing. Kids are leaving the home. They're empty nesters, and the dynamic where their partner has also evolved. Many women have told me that they look in the mirror and they don't even recognize the person staring back at them. A big part of this struggle is losing one's sense of purpose. We spent so much time in our early lives meeting others' expectation in the workplace or we've spent so much time in our early lives meeting others' expectations that they placed upon us, building careers, raising children, and putting others before ourselves. And then when we step back and we say, well, what now? And so I think that this particular period, and it happens to women in different time periods. I've heard some women say that they're in their 38 and above. Some women, it hits them in their mid-40s. And some women, believe it or not, I mean, it shocks me. They say that it hits them at age 55. So I don't know, I don't know if it's biological, either your hormones, or if it's just a moment where we start asking ourselves, what now?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, when you get to that midlife stage, whatever it is, 40, 45, I feel like around that time, so many of us do start to, one, get a little restless. And I don't know about you, the word stuck is the word I hear the most, right? I feel stuck, I feel stuck, I feel stuck, right? And I think that feeling stuck is really just means you just don't have clarity on what you want to do next. You're never actually stuck. It's really a mindset. But I think it's a really common time because to look back and start reevaluating, who am I? What are my goals? What are my values? Have my values changed? How do I want to show up in the world? I think because we get to a point where we've got experience under our belt, we've got accomplishments, whether it's kids, professional accomplishments, it's almost like it's a natural stopping and resting point where we look back and reevaluate before we begin the next phase, right? So I think that's why you and I have so many clients who want help at this stage, because it's a period of reevaluation, I think, where you have to reevaluate yourself, sometimes your job, your relationships, all of those things. So what are some beginning steps that you take with clients to start that reevaluation? I mean, so if somebody's just feeling all of those things that you described, they feel stuck, they feel overlooked, they don't have what's my purpose, where do you begin to transform?
Well, I'd like to share a client that I work with that, her story. So I had a client that I worked with who described it perfectly. She said, I feel invisible. I feel like I don't matter. I've lost my way. She had been working for the same company for over 20 years. She was excellent in her role. And when a promotion came up, that she was overqualified for, she didn't apply for it. Not because she could not do the job, but because she lost confidence in herself. She found out that the person who received the job lacked experience, education, leadership skills that she possessed, and it crushed her. And then when she came home, she felt very disconnected from her family. In fact, she told me, I feel if I didn't come home, I don't think anyone would notice. That's how lost she felt. When she went to her doctor to talk to her doctor dismissed it and said, you're going through menopause, and offered her anxiety medications. But it didn't sit right with her. She didn't want a Band-Aid. So we started to work together. I helped her shift her focus from what she thought she had lost to what she could create. We explored her new purpose, one that wasn't based on expectations from others, but based on what truly lit her up. We worked through questions like, what are your core values? What are your strengths and talents? What brings you joy or gets you excited? What drives you to take action? What impacts do you make now? What impacts do you want to make now in this season of your life? And although through this process, she realized that she didn't really like her job anymore. She actually hated it. while it provided her the security that she needed, it no longer offered her meaning or a sense of purpose. So she left her job. She launched her own consulting firm, something that felt more aligned and more fulfilling to her. And at home, things also changed. She became more present, more connected. She even told me that her and her husband rediscovered their intimacy. That sense of disconnection began to dissolve when she came back to herself. That's the kind of transformation I love helping women create.
I love those questions that you offered, because coaching is about questioning, and it's a very powerful thing to help people uncover their own blocks and take action. So it sounds like the starting point is asking yourself a lot of really honest questions around who are you? What are your core values? What drives, like you said, what drives you to action? What motivates you? So what if somebody was starts to ask themselves those questions, but they just don't know. They feel, do you ever have that happen where a client's just like, I feel like I don't know what I want or who I am. They just kind of feel stuck and drawing a blank with those things. Does that ever happen?
That does happen. And in my opinion, I don't think we're stuck. We're not really stuck. We are in a phase where we're invited to take that shift. And we need to start exploring things because early in life, or, I think that we have responsibilities that were instilled in us or this roadmap that people instilled into us. And now we're at a new fork in the road where we don't have anybody telling us what we need to do. It's, we're kind of in our 30s or 40s or 50s whenever this time of stuck happens. And it's almost, we have no training wheels on. We are having to make that decision. And so I think that's when you feel stuck, you need to ask yourself those questions. And if nothing pops up, then just start journaling or become curious, start doing things that maybe you liked doing when you were young. Because in doing these activities that are activities you haven't done in a long time, it will spark interest and take you down, a path of rediscovery.
Yeah, it's you have to ask yourself a lot of hard questions, and then I think you also, like you said, have to give yourself some time and space to find the answers because they don't come immediately at all. In fact, I think that self-discovery is a process, right? So it's just being willing to ask yourself those questions. And I love journaling, that suggestion. I think that that's incredibly powerful. I'm a fan of that. I just believe that it makes it more real. And there's almost a little bit of self-accountability in there as well. Um, what are some ways that somebody thinking about careers as much as we can, because a lot of people, listening to the show are kind of that mindset. What are some ways that somebody at midlife can help kind of reinvigorate their career? Are there mindset shifts? Are there ways that they can maybe reframe their experience or anything? What kind of work do you do at all with clients around, finding maybe their passion, finding their core values for their career, or anything like that?
Well, I think that, a lot of people think that working with a coach, the coach is going to wave this magic wand and poof, things are going to happen. I'm sorry. Things don't happen that way. They just don't. So I would say the first thing is stop being hard on yourself. Take a breath. Pause. And give yourself love. Maybe look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And you're doing the best you can. What you're feeling isn't failure. It's because, and it does not mean that you're broken and that you're not stuck. And I would, like I said before, journal. If you don't like to journal, listen to music, any kind of music. Listen to the podcast. Listen, or, maybe take a painting class. Do something that requires, I'm a big believer of the arts. And that's why I brought up the writing and listening to music and painting. Because through opening that, using that other part of your brain or the other portion of your brain, it sparks creativity. And when you invite creativity and you become curious, things will happen. I believe that it will lead to something else. And again, I'm going to go back to grabbing that journal or a notebook and maybe just, say you're going to do this for 30 days. Same questions over and over. Ask yourself, what values or principles really guide my decisions? Ask yourself, what are you naturally good at, even if you're not being paid to do it? What lights you up? What topic or ideas do I love to talk about, learn, or never get tired exploring? What am I actually willing to take action in order to pursue something I care about? And this is the one big thing. How do I want to be remembered? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And I think that if you practice, write these questions down every day, answer these questions, you're going to find different answers. If you're really, really connecting with yourself and saying, I really want to answer these questions, you're going to come up with different answers. And then start be curious, play with them, try them out. I believe a career is going to come out.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it will. I love your emphasis on curiosity. I agree with that. I think it's a very underrated characteristic. We tend to lose it a little bit sometimes as we get older, but curiosity can lead you to your passion and lead you to changes, but you have to be willing to ask the question, to get curious, to just say, well, what if I did do this? What would that look like? And don't worry about it, whether it happens or not. It's about asking the questions, about starting the process, and clarity comes later once we get going and take action on that. So, I would say, are there any other client stories you can share or any other major pain points that we haven't talked about that clients come to you with? It doesn't have to be career. What are some other trends, I guess I would say, that you notice in clients at this stage of their life?
Well, I have one client who came to me who felt that, she didn't like to look at herself anymore because she wasn't comfortable with she didn't recognize herself anymore. And the reason why she didn't recognize herself anymore was because she was getting older. And she didn't like that version of herself. And, and I told her, when we began working, I said, well, there are things that can be done, but I don't believe that Botox, fillers, any plastic surgery is really what she's not comfortable with. I think it's a matter of just accepting that we're all going to do this. We're all going to get old. And it's all about giving yourself grace and loving yourself and being comfortable with this new version of yourself. And I think that a lot of times it comes from, social media, because if you watch TV or if you, scroll and, on the news and stuff, there's not a lot of mature female role models. You tend to see a lot of the younger people. And so I think that we just need to give ourselves that grace to accept that we're all going to do it. We're all going to get old. And we shouldn't let that get in our way. And so she and I are still actively working through that. And I encouraged her to take more pictures of herself, because next year she's going to look a little bit different. But she shouldn't, you shouldn't start to isolate yourself from people because you don't like the older version of yourself, or you're not comfortable with the older version of yourself. Because then you're robbing your family and other people out there of the wonderful gifts and talents that you have to offer because you don't feel comfortable with the older version of yourself. It's all a mindset. Because the older version of yourself is the best version of yourself because you have so much more to offer the world. You're wiser. You can teach the younger generation. And the last thing you want to do is teach the younger generation to not like the older version of yourself.
That's a good point. Yeah. Absolutely. There's so much that people actually have to offer that is an advantage that they don't even know. We always think, oh, the younger people have the advantage. That's not true. When we're thinking about career stuff, I always remind clients, you have a larger network. You've been on this planet longer. You know more people. You have relationships with people. That is a huge advantage in terms of your career. Then, as you said, not to mention the wisdom and experience you have is absolutely advantage. I know people don't always feel that way in the job market that it is, but it actually is. And a lot of the disconnect comes from them not feeling like it is. It's internal, because I think there's a lot of perceived age bias that doesn't always exist. It's out there, but it doesn't always exist. Sometimes it's actually us just dimming our own light and not feeling confident in ourselves. So I love that your business and your podcast, Create the Best Me. I love that phrase. Tell our listeners, as we start to wrap up, more about where they can connect with you, where they can listen to your show, whatever you have to share or offer, because I love that that phrase that you use about create the best me. I think that nails it. That's exactly what we want to do, and we have to do it all over again when we get to that midlife stage. So tell listeners a little bit more about how they can connect with you.
So if people want to stay connected with me or connect with me, they can go to my website, which is createthebestme.com. Or you can find me on YouTube and all the major platforms under Create the Best Me. On social media, you can find me under my name, Carmen Hecox. And again, Create the Best Me is about creating the best version of you, whatever it is. It's not about Carmen creating the best Carmen. It's about creating the best version of you. Accepting who you are, accepting everything you have to offer the world. Don't rob the world. Give to the world. Give to the future generations and become the best version of yourself. Because, if you're in your 50s, you're going to be spending the last 50 years in this particular stage. Why not make it the best you on your terms?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's a great phrase there to end on. I love that. So thank you for being here, Carmen, and sharing a little bit of your insights and some of the stories in particular from your clients. I appreciate it very much, and I would encourage everyone to learn more about Carmen, createthebestme.com, and she has her own podcast as well that I've been on also. So it's really, really an amazing transformational message, and from somebody like yourself too, who's made the same kind of career transformation. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights. And to listeners, of course, absolutely. And to the listeners, just a quick wrap up. Don't forget to go to careeruprising.com/book to purchase your copy of my book, What You Didn't Learn in School, Lessons on Growth, Change, and Living Your Best Life. And then send us your receipt or email us for a signed copy at info@careeruprising.com. And we will connect you to my new digital library, all for free, so you can get some help in your career. And we will be back with another new episode in just a week or so. All right, take care, everyone. Hey, it's Lorraine, and I want to say thanks for listening. If you found value in today's show, I would be honored to have your review on Apple Podcasts. It's the single best way to help this show be found by other listeners, and you'll earn some good karma. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you next time on Career Uprising.